Hey guys, I'm in the mood to do something fun. Let's play around with being able to leak prefixes based on whether or not the third octet is going to be even or odd. We're going to use everything that we've talked about up to this point, and we're going to find ourselves working in the environment that we've currently worked in using R2, and then what we'll do is we'll ultimately repeat everything on R1 with regard to named mode operations. But you're going to find it's not going to be really anything different. So what I want to do is I want to modify my scenario. So my scenario needs to incorporate the fact that what I want to do right now is on or via serial 2/0, I want to use that for all of my odd prefixes. Actually, no, my evens. Just make my life easier. So let's say I want that to carry all of my even prefixes. Serial 2/1, I want it to carry all of my odds. So when I look at this, what I want to do is that I want to leak my /24s for my evens out serial 2/0. Now when we look at this, how do we have it currently configured? Well, let's go to R22, and what we're going to do is show run interface serial 2/0. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to remove these leak maps. Or actually what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to modify, but I'm not going to modify the leak map, I'm going to modify the access list. And let's take a look and see what we got going on here. So show access list. I have 4 access lists. Got 100, 1, and 2. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of 100 just so that it's not in there bothering us. So I'm going to say config T, no access list 100. Gone. Do show access-list. Now I can see the 2 that I want to work with. Now one of these says specifically for 7, one says specifically for 6. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of, actually we'll just go ahead and delete all of these. So we'll say no access-list 1, no access list-2. Now when I look at this, let's start looking specifically at do show run interface serial 2/0. Now, in this scenario, I'm using a leak map called leak06. So all I'm going to do is make a modification to that. I'm going to say do show run section route map leak LO6. Okay, here's my leak map, and it's calling IP access list 2. Well, that's the one I want to modify. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say access-list 2, I want to permit, and what do I want to permit? Well, I want to permit 22, 22, and I'm going to say 0, 0. Now, I have the ability to be able to come in here and use wildcard masks. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say, all right, I want 22 to be advertised, match. I want the second octet to match. Now what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to advertise my, let's see, on this interface I want to advertise my evens, which means what I'm going to do is I now have a choice. I can use different values here. So if I were to use, say for instance, an 8 here, so if I had used a network or a inverse mask of 0.0.8.255, what this would do is it would actually be 7, not 8. This would advertise the first 7 networks. That's not what I want to do. I want to be able to skip networks. So let's look at this. First of all, what I'll do is I'll use this 7. Let's see what happens. So if I come up here and say 7.255 and then press enter, do clear IPEIGRP neighbors, let's go over here and see what's happening on R1. Show IP route. Now I'm going to start looking at my prefixes for 22. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit and we're going to hit it. Now notice what's going on here. I am learning everything. So right now nothing's matching. So I've got 22, 22. I'm learning it from 0, 1 and 0, 0. So right now this looks like nothing's working. Now I've got a new adjacency, interface configuration changed. So let's take a look and see what we got here. Show access-list. I got 32 matches on this one. So let's see if it's just an issue of waiting. So show IP route. Well, I don't see any operational change here. So let's look at this. Let's say trace route to 22.22.0.22. Load sharing. So let's pick something out of the bottom of the list. 7.22. Still load sharing. So let's look at what we did on R22. Show access list 2. We have matches. In fact, we got 32 of them. So now let's look at what's going on here. So what we're doing is, let me do this. I'm going to say interface serial 2.1. I'm going to shut that interface down. And let's see what's going to get advertised. Show IP route. So far, I'm going to go ahead and erase this so that we can see everything. So far, nothing. So let's see what's going on. Okay, now we got to change. Notice now I'm only learning everything from 0. So the only thing that I'm learning through Ethernet 00 is the routes that I'm learning through R2, which means that should be everything. So what is happening here is that my first thought was that I would be able to do this with regard to being even. So how many prefixes am I advertising? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, how many did I tell it to advertise? I told it to advertise 8, 0 through 7. So what would happen now if I came up here and modified this? Let's just pick another prefix. Let's say instead of 7, my next one would be 3. So what if I only want to advertise 3 of these now? So let's go over to R1, repeat my command for 22, and let's see what was going on here. We'll just wait for it. Probably should have cleared the connection. Knock my coffee cup over. Let's see what's going on here. Do show run interface serial 2.0, serial 2.1, show run route map leak underscore LO 70107. That's not going to do anything for me. What am I doing? Show run pipe section route map. Notice what I'm doing here. It's matching access list 1. Show access list 1. It's not configured. So let's go ahead and match it the same way. So let's find 2. See what's going on now. S20. Man, I'm all over the place with this, guys. I apologize. Okay, there's 2. Show access list 2. And notice what I did. What I'm trying to point out here is that we have to be very careful with how we approach our problems. I did not delete this prefix, this access list. What's happening here is this route map is calling this access list. This access list is access list 2, and what ends up happening here is it's still permitting everything. So what I want to do is I want to eliminate that. So what I'll do is I'll come up here and say no access list. Actually, let's just edit it. Some people don't even know how to do that. So we'll say IP access dash list standard 2 no 10. Do show access dash list. Now what do we see is access list 2 now only has the one entry in it. So now let's see what happens. Show IP access list 2. I have 8 matches. Let's go down and see what's going on R1. Show IP route. Go down to my 22s. Now notice it's only advertising 0, 1, 2, and 3. So I'm only advertising the first 4 prefixes. So that selection of 3, 7, 15, those are all going to just take the first sequence. So what I want to do is I want to change my logic again. So what we'll do is we'll bounce back over to R22, and I'm just simply going to remove both these access lists. No access list 2, no access list 1. We're going to work with access list 2 first. So access list 2 is going to tell me or say that I want to leak some prefixes. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to say access list 1 is going to leak my evens. So I'm going to say access list 1 permit, and it's going to be 222200. And since it's going to be a wild card, it's going to be 00 because the 22 and the 22 have to match. And now what I'm going to say is I'm going to say 254. So what is 256 minus 254? It's going to be 2. So that means I'm going to increment based on values of 2. So I'm going to start at 0. So what will happen is it'll be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Notice all of those numbers are even numbers. See if it changes the config. Do show access list 1. I should have been configuring 2. Yep. No access list 1. The access list that I should have configured was 2. This should force it to restart. Show access list 2. 10 matches. Interface route configuration changed. That's the reason for the resync. Now let's go over to R1 and see what prefixes we're learning. Show IP route. Go down to my 22s. Notice the only prefixes that I'm learning are 2, 4, 6, and 8. So I'm advertising my evens purely through serial 20 on R22. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some trace routes. That means that this traffic trace route, I'm going to do 22, 22, 1, 22. Notice I'm going through R2. Let's see here. Oh, I've got the interface down. I have to go through R2. So we'll go back over here, config T, interface S2, 1, no shut. This will change things around. So should load share when the link comes up. Show IP EIGRP neighbors. Good to go there. See what happens. Still not load sharing. Show IP route. My system's shut down. All right, I will take a look at this very shortly. Come back. I apologize. I'm having a technical error. My virtual host has just gave up the ghost. So I'll see you guys in the next part of this when we bring the rest of the online. I apologize. I'll see you guys there. Bye-bye.